folks, this is Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and we're taking a look at the Bestech THORN today. Now, I've had the THORN for a couple of months, right around 2 months now. Used it a fair bit. I am enjoying this knife. The blade length is almost exactly just a tiniest little bit less than 3 inches. Right around 7.58 centimeters. You know, it's really close to that a lot of places have for knife sizes. So if you're in one of those places, this knife will just barely fit that. You could always do a very tiny, take a file and grind the tip down just a tiny bit if you want to make it just a hair shorter, you know, in case you've got, you know, some local officers that are a little bit picky. But basically we've got a G10 knife, that's the handle scales, liner lock with 12C27 steel and a high flat grind, technically a saber grind, not a full flat, but you know, a nice little knife. Forward choil there. If you're looking for a knife like this, even if you're not, if you're just interested in knives, this knife comes in 3 different G10 colors, and you can get it in all satin. Well, the flats are stonewash, or you can get the flats in black, and then you have the satin blade. So those 2 different ways with 3 different G10 colors. You need to make up your mind soon because Bestech will be discontinuing this knife, and I'll talk more about that in the review coming at you right now. To me, this knife is beautiful. I mean, it's a great looking knife. It feels awesome in the hand. You know, this reverse grip, your thumb just fits along there beautifully. And then you can do a forward choil if you want to. You know, same thing. Saber grip, fist grip, pinch grip. Just a very comfortable knife any which way that you want to use it. And it's got a very budget steel. This 12C27 by Sandvik is, you know, the budget kind of steel that I tend to like. Comes at a good price. Bestech knives, the lowest price they sell them at is $52, and they make their sellers agree to not sell them for less than that. But you can always buy this at White Mountain Knives for $52, and then use my coupon code CCE for Canadian Cutting Edge and get 10% off. And free shipping to the United States and budget shipping to Canada. They did a great job with this knife. I like the grind on here. The swedge up here at the top is nice. There's a decent distal taper that's coming. As soon as this swedge starts, the knife blade starts to taper down, and then it quickly tapers down this last third of the knife down to a tip that's, you know, pretty good. It's a tip that will break if you push on it, if you try to pry with it, but it's not a super weak tip either. It's a pretty good tip. You've got 2 little lines on the jimping there. Let's hold it up a little closer to the camera here. 2 little jimps, and then you've got 5 little jimps. I call them jimps on the liners there. It gives you a little bit of extra retention on your thumb without being aggressive at all. Here on the liner release is really easy to access, and there's just a little bit of jimping on there as well. Small backspacer, and the backspacer is made of G10, and you know, it's just a little bit of jimping on there too. It just feels really nice in hand. You've got this triangle shaped lanyard hole. You can fit 550 paracord through there very easily. And then you've got this 3D milled G10. You can see these lines here very well. Let's get it a little closer to the camera where you can see those. Let's see, which way do I hold it to get those? There you go. You can see those lines that are milled in both here on the belly and on the side closer to the spine there. That gives you another great amount of edge retention, hand retention. And the way those lines are, it stops your hand from sliding forward. Your hand can slide backward a little more easily, but forward not so easily. And that's a good thing for safety when you're using the knife. And the pocket clip is right side only. They got a G10 standoff for that. And the standoff is right around 1/2 inch, about 1.5 centimeters of the knife sticks out of your pocket when you've got it in your pocket. Pocket clip works very well. Nice spoon shape there, and the retention of the pocket clip is simply awesome. Love it an awful lot. We've got ceramic ball bearings and a ceramic detent, and the detent on this knife is simply stupendous. Hear that? It just sucks it in that last bit. Great, great. That detent is exactly how I want every detent to be. Even on, super expensive knives, if I had a $600 knife and it had a detent like that, I would say it's perfect. They did a great job, especially on this specific knife right here. Let me show you what it looks like in a pair of pants. Going into the pocket through the pocket clip, I mean. So it just slides on there very well. You just have a little bit of that triangle shape of the pocket, sticking out of the pocket, I should say. The pocket clip doesn't look huge at all. Doesn't look like you've got a great big thing in your pocket. And you just grab it with your thumb, and it comes out easily. The flipper tab, you can push straight down, almost. You're just pushing back a tiny bit and flips it out. Or you can do the light switch method where you're pulling straight back, and both of them work quite well. The flipper tab's got just a little bit of jimping on it right there. So really, really awesome for that. Just a very, very good knife. Now, the balance point on this knife is, let me get it again, right there, which is a pretty good balance point. Not bad at all. There's just a little bit of skeletonizing in here. Let me show you the pictures of the inside and the ball bearings. What do you think of that? I think it's very, very good. The knife looks good, feels good, and it carries very, very well in hand. We've got a lockup that is solid, and it's early. Not early as in bad early. It's early as in exactly where I like a brand new knife to be. Let's see if I can get this to focus again. There we go. So you see that lockup point? Beautiful. Simply beautiful. The lockup is fully engaged because it locks up on this corner of the liner, this edge right here. The actual lockup point is actually right on the corner of the liner lock. It's not across the full face of the liner lock of the end of that piece of steel. It's actually just right on the corner. It's just a thin line that connects on lockup. I might try to explain that in more detail in a video someday. But lockup is great. Blade plays side to side. Nope. Up and down. Nope. Yeah, my hands move a little bit, but that's just because my hands move. But it's a really good lockup. The only thing I don't like about this lockup here, about the pivot, I should say, is the pivot line is visible out here. So get focused back up again here. There you go. You can see that pivot line right there. If they would have made the handle come out just a little bit more, they would have to change that angle ever so slightly, bring it down and then back. It would hide that line. That's simply a personal taste thing. I prefer to have that little wear line where the detent ball slides along the side of the blade to be hidden. But they did a good job with this angle matches this angle. So if they had it still matching and came down a little bit more, it would look a little more blocky instead of looking angular the way it does now. So I really don't mind. It's just one of those nitpicky things. We've got the free spinning pivot. I like fixed pivots, but this is one of their older knives. I don't think they changed these. And that's got that number 8 or the letter B, whatever you want to say that looks like. And then the torque side is here. That's a T8, and these are T6s. And you do have to use one of those vice systems where you clamp it on, and 2 screwdrivers, one of those that's got the spanner driver on this side and Torx on this side while it's held. So you can use 2 screwdrivers to undo it. If you just put a knife down, like on a table, even if you close it and you put your knife down on a table like that and you're using 2 screwdrivers, chances are very high one's going to slip and you're going to stab yourself. How do I know? Experience. Experience is one of the best teachers that you can have. And that's why I bought a vise that holds the knife whenever I use 2 screwdrivers. So now we are ready for all the different specs on this knife. First off, the weight. It's 111 grams, which is 3.9 ounces. So skeletonizing was minor, but they don't really need a lot of skeletonizing. 3.9 is a good weight on this knife. The edge sharpness from the factory, 155 grams. Awesome. Very, very good. The edge sharpness, great from the factory. Now the cutting edge, that's from the end of the choil right here to the tip, 7.55 centimeters, 2.97 inches. And then the blade length, the tip to the closest spot on the G10, and I use a digital vernier caliper to measure that. That's a tiny bit more. That's 7.59 centimeters, which is 2.988 inches. So 3 inches. It really is. The blade thickness is 3.2 millimeters. That's 0.126 inches. So nice and thin without being so thin that it's weak. The blade depth, and it's biggest right here, and it starts going narrower right away. So right here, the biggest spot is 2.62 centimeters, 1.03 inches. And then the thickness of the edge behind the grind right there, 0.43 millimeters. That's 0.017 inches. So it's a very thin behind the grind, and that's why this knife slices like a dream. And it really, really does. Now, the grind angle that they sharpen this knife to, I'll let you know in just a second because I forgot to measure it. So it'll be on the screen right here. I'll go measure it after I finish talking. And the handle length is 11.07 centimeters. That's 4.36 inches. The grip area between my thumbs is 8.89 centimeters, 3.5 inches. The handle thickness, not counting the pocket clip, is 1.45 centimeters. That's 0.571, so just a bit over half an inch thick. The handle depth, well, it's biggest right here or right there. So between my thumbs or right there. If you measure the flipper tab, then it's quite a bit more, but I didn't measure the flipper tab. It is 2.6 centimeters, 1.02 inches, and with the knife closed, it's a little bit more because the knife comes out a little bit. That's 2.8 centimeters, 1.1 inches. If you do want to count the flipper tab, it's 3.3 centimeters, 1.3 inches. And again, I forgot to do the conversions of my numbers again. It's 18.6 centimeters, and the inches are up on the screen here as well. How much does this knife cost? Well, like I said, $52. $52 American, and whatever your currency is compared to American dollars, that's what you'll find it for. If you're in North America, I suggest you buy it from White Mountain Knives. If you live somewhere else, I will try to find some links to other places to give to you. I'll put links down below for White Mountain Knives and my coupon code CCE for those of you who can use that. Okay, what are the unique features of this knife? Well, it doesn't really have anything that's super special unique. The blade shape is, well, what do you call this blade shape? Do you call it a straight back? Well, this is straight all the way from there to here on the tip. There's no curve or, no change, no drop. So is that a clip point? Because it actually does go down compared to the spine angle. So if this is straight, there is a bit of an angle. This is accentuated. It's not perfectly straight along that spine. And you can see that along these lines here that you have on this background that I have. So it does come down a bit. It doesn't come just straight across right to here. So is that a drop point or is that a straight back? Well, yes, it's both. It just depends on what you want to call this one. Unique things, this triangle hole. Some knives have that. Not very many, but I like that. That's a good thing. The distal taper, I do like that. They don't wait until they're close to the tip to start the taper. It actually starts right back here, right where this wedge is, right where the grind of the bevel starts. It starts getting thinner right away, all the way till you get to the terminated point at the end. So that's good. It's decent there. The pros and the cons, awesome detent that I mentioned already. Grippy handle. This, I don't know what you want to call that, side jimping. That helps for a lot of grippiness. Love the pocket clip. Works very, very well. And, and it's a good size. It's a size that almost anybody, if you're allowed to have locking knives, chances are very, very high that you're allowed to have this size knife. So if you're allowed to have bigger knives, well, you're still allowed to have this. So there you go. It fits a lot of hands. My hands are right between large and extra large. So that means anybody with men's large and smaller is going to find this more than adequate. And some people with extra large hands, men's, you still might like this, you might not. It all depends on your specific preferences. What are the cons? Well, I don't like a free spinning pivot. It does make it harder to do your maintenance, a little bit trickier, but it's not a big problem. The exposed detent line, that's being nitpicky, but technically it's a con. Some people don't like that. The fact that there's no left pocket clip, some people don't like that. I grew up left-handed, and I really don't mind right-handed knives. I can use them in my left hand, no problem, all day long. This is my left hand, by the way. It just works. With my right hand, yeah, same thing. I can make the knife work just fine with my right hand as well. Actually, I'm a little bit worse with my right hand. So on this one at this time. So I don't really mind left-handed liner locks and stuff, but I do like the pocket clip on this side here. But that's basically what this knife is about. Now, I've said it's being discontinued. I think Bestech made one mistake with this knife, and that is the steel type. If they'd make this knife with D2 steel or even with 14C28N, I think it would be much more attractive. I think more people would buy this knife. Do I think those steels are a whole lot better than 12C27? No, they're better than 12C27 for sure, but they're not like truckloads, and miles better. But people go by their gut feelings, and in their gut, they think 12C27 isn't quite good enough. They want something a little bit better. So Bestech, if you're listening, yes, you're making budget knives, but if you could go just up a notch or two with the steel that you use, 14C28N maybe, or a D2, maybe even 9C or 18 MOV. That's a steel that the public right now seems to really like, even though it's not really that much different, but some people might disagree with me. But, it really depends on what the public wants, not necessarily what the science says. That's how sales work. So that's what this knife is like. So being discontinued, if you can find this knife and you like the styling, get it while you can. And White Mountain Knives has all 6 combinations of the 3 different G10 colors and either the full satin blade or the black flats with the satin bevel. So that's 6 different combinations. You can get them from there right now. By the way, I do want to let everybody know Chinese New Year is happening right now. And so if you order anything from a store from China and shipping's from China and it hasn't shipped yet, like if you order it within the next couple of days, it will not ship until about the 10th, the 9th or the 10th of February. The country basically shuts down. Anyhow, I'm starting to ramble about all kinds of stuff. This is the Bestech THORN. This could be an awesome thorn in your side pocket. Remember, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.